Welcome, welcome. I went to a class Saturday in California and I walked in and the lady said, "Welcome, welcome." I thought that was cute. I thought that was cute. Welcome. It is May 16th. May 16th. Gosh, everybody says the same thing. It's hard to believe. It's May. It's the middle of May. It's just the time goes so fast. I don't know why that is. They say it gets faster as you get older, but I'm getting younger, so I'm not sure why it's going faster for me. Maybe that's because I'm not getting younger. Ah ha ha. All right, well, welcome everybody. We're going to kind of focus on men a little bit, but I have not left us ladies out. The good news about focusing on men, I'll tell you why there's advantages to that. And it's not the advantages you probably think about, but we'll talk about those advantages. But we are doing good. Monday. This is, we won't have a webcast in 2 weeks. We'll have a webcast in 3 weeks because in 2 weeks we have Memorial Day. So it'll be 3 weeks before we have another webcast. I'm going to miss you guys, but I am sewing up a storm. Oh my gosh. Remember those 25 pieces in my wardrobe that I started with? Well, that was just a base. We're trying to get back up to 200 is what we're trying to do. All right, so in our traditional format, we're going to answer questions that you have. And welcome everybody. I made a muslin of Sally's pants. Good girl. Fits well. Even better. The bottom hem circumference is 17.5. I want it to be 20. Where do I add the difference of 2.5 inches? And do I blend to below the knee, at knee, or above knee? Okay, so all of these are actually styling questions. I can answer some of them and then say it defaults to you on some of them. So for instance, if I want to go from 17.5 to 20, the 2.5 inches, you have 2 seams, but you have 2 sides to each seam. So you actually have 4 places. So you take the 2.5 inches, you divide it by the 4, which ends up being 5/8, 3/4, 1.5, 3. Yeah, it's 5/8. So it's 5/8 of an inch. So you add 5/8 of an inch to each of those seams, to each of those sides of the seam. So there's 4 places. And whether you taper it to the knee or whether you taper it to the thigh is your call. Now, what I would suggest is there was somewhere that you got that 20 inches from. So wherever you got that 20 inches from, that was the number you wanted to go to, I'm going to suppose it's from a pair of pants. You should measure the knee and you should measure the thigh of that pair of pants. And I would make a comparison of all 3. Don't leave the hem by itself, and don't think that if you match the hem, the pant will look the same. The 2 pants will look the same. So measure the thigh, the knee, the hem, and then duplicate the thigh, the knee, the hem. Do all 3. Okay? But good girl, measuring hems. There were so many times I said in classes, what is your favorite hem circumference on your pants? And y'all looked at me like I was talking Greek, and now we're talking the same language. This is so exciting. I made a yoga skirt. Yay! And it fits great. Yay! But the sides stretched, and I have had to even the hem using a French curve. It looks like a handkerchief hem. What happened? Well, I don't know what happened, but that's not how the pattern. It's not how the pattern is. So I'm going to assume that just the fabric stretched out somehow. I don't know the fabric you were using, but there must have been some kind of stretching, in the knit. So a lot of times when we are using knits, it's hard to know when we buy knits, especially we get them at all kinds of great places. There's a great knit, it's a good price, we buy it. It's hard to know whether they're stable or not. And a lot of knits just simply don't hold their stability. Long before I started buying fabric, I remember working with knits and I hated knits because they just would never stay place. And now I love knits because I know where I'm buying and I know I'm buying quality, it's just difference. All right, what stitch do you recommend for 1875 Zoanne's coat? What stitch? I mean, just a straight stitch. Do you mean stitch length maybe? Stitch length? I'm going to have you clarify that just for a second. But if you're talking stitch length, you always judge the stitch length by the fabric you're sewing on. So if it's a heavier, sturdier fabric, I need a shorter stitch length. And if it's a lightweight, loose fabric, I need a longer stitch length. The goal is that when I tear those two pieces of fabric apart, I want the thread to break. I don't want the fabric to tear while the thread is holding fast. So while our machines default to usually a 2.5, that's not a sewing number. 2.5 is way too small to stitch with. Way too small. On the men's shirt pattern, which is this one right here, is there a way to take out the additional inches down the length of the back, to accommodate the darts, but still have side darts to help with comfort? Boy, I don't know what you're asking there. I'm really sorry. Is there a way to take out additional inches down the length of the back to accommodate the darts, but still have side darts? You can have more than one dart if you want. You can have 2 darts in the front and 2 darts in the back. I'm not sure if this is answering your question, but just like in women's wear, you can have 2 darts on each side of center front and 2 darts on each side of center back. If a guy is, really cut and really wants his shirts fitted and all that kind of stuff, then you can absolutely do that. But just like in women's, the smaller you go, the less mobility he's going to have. And guys a lot of times are not as patient. They want mobility. They want their clothes to move. They're not as willing to suffer as women are, because women have suffered for so long in our clothing. Men have not. Men have large armholes. Men have much more mobility in their clothes, and they're much willing to put up with, you're not supposed to move that far, and they're just not willing to do that. Oh, what kind of stitch do you use? I just use a straight stitch. I don't do anything on Sheila's jacket. Oh gosh, Zoanne's, yeah, I'm sorry. There's many. Just, I've done serging, I've done a 3-thread, I've done an overcast, I've done decorative features on the machine. There's unlimited. Just whatever you like. You can contrast thread, whatever you like. Yeah. Oh, pleats, that makes sense. Okay, so go back to that. Can you pull that question up again? That's okay. Hold on just a second. To help with what? Comfort. Pleats and darts don't do comfort, so I'm not sure. We're going to talk about all the options you have, and maybe we'll touch over it, because I'm going to go over cargo shorts and I'm going to go over men's shirts. I'm going to go over both, because right now the cargo short is the pattern of the month, and then we have a special with the men's shirt and the DVD. We have those specials together. So I'm going to talk about both fitting and sewing of both of these. Oh, okay. Your son, he doesn't like the extra fullness. Yeah, just when you fold it out of the pattern, just fold it out here to where it's equal to the yoke, and then taper to nothing at the hem, and that will take all that fullness away. And then you can still have the darts to, if he wants it more shaped to his body, you can still do that. But to keep the pattern flat, take a pleat out of the center back at the top of the yoke, and then taper to nothing to the hem. Okay? Number 500 pleated top, I'd like to add a peplum type at the bottom because the top was too short. It measures 15 to my waist, so I was thinking a 7.5-inch peplum. Perfect. That would be a 2 to 1. Very good. Very good. 7.5 is probably just perfect. Again, it's 2 to 1, and that's usually, it's thirds, is usually what a peplum is. So it's perfect thinking, right on, great job. And just make sure that it's the fullness that you like. So it's a 1 to 1 where you make it here, and then it's usually 2 to 1 coming in, that's, of course, that's styling, but make sure you know how full you want it around. And maybe try one, not out of the same fabric unless you have a lot of the same fabric, but I would try one just to make sure it's the right look for you. But it's the thinking is right on. Very good. I recently purchased a beautiful knit fabric from you that is recommended for a knit top. Will that fabric work as a tank dress? It will. I just made one tonight, and the reason I made this tonight, this tank dress, is I want to, that's the portion I want to talk about for us women. I want to talk about dresses. And when I was in California Saturday, and actually I've gotten so many emails, and it seems like it's the same questions that keep coming in, and I don't know if it's because I've thought about this recently and I've realized that I don't think we're clear on this, but I wanted to clarify it tonight when we talk about little summer dresses. And so I'll go over it. We'll go over the men's part first. I have a question. What causes the inside of a short's leg to ride up toward the crotch on the chubby thigh? On a short, the thighs, I mean, on most of us, let's face it, the thighs will rub. When the thighs rub and there's fabric in between them, that causes the friction, and with the friction, the short will pull up. It doesn't happen on pants because there's enough weight in the leg of the pant that it holds the pant down, and there has enough weight. But with a short, there's just not enough weight, and so that's what causes that short to ride up when the friction pulls it up. There's really, you know, if you're willing to wear your crotch lower, below the rubbing of your legs. I had one lady say to me, well, I'd have to wear them below my knees to get my legs to stop rubbing. But I mean, you know, that it's because your legs rub and because the fabric is in between them and it causes the pant to pull up. So, I mean, we've done all the years, I've seen all kinds of crazy things. I've seen where they do weights on the bottom of the hem to hold it down. You know, it is what it is. I think it's probably why I love dresses. Or else I like my crotches longer. I like them cut below so that they're really low. That's where the whole hipster thing got started. When I was looking at the history of the cargo pant, I found some really interesting things I'll kind of share with you here in a minute. All right, question. I'd like to see a class on fitting the larger-than-life plus-size people. Not the fashion size, the ones that fit the 24W through 6X. No expert that I've had any dealings with really know how. It's no different. There is no different. I had a lady on this webcast, and well, initially when I was first doing the webcast, first off, the fit is no different. Please don't think that because you are large size that the fitting is any different. There's no advantage or disadvantage to fitting a larger body. And I find this interesting when I go to do fitting classes. I'm going to use Saturday again as some examples. I had a lady who emailed me ahead of time. She said she didn't have time to make her muslin. Would it be of value to come to the class? I said hands down. In fact, you'll probably get more out of the class because you're not focused on you. You're focused on what I'm trying to teach you, which is L, C, and D. So as I went through the class and did the same thing repeatedly to everybody, I don't care whether they were, you know, size 2 or size 42, it's the same LCD, the same method, the same way. And she said to me after the class, you're absolutely right. I get it. It's because we all make it about us. We think that we are so unique and weird and unusual that certainly cloth or clothes can't fit us just because ready-to-wear doesn't. And that's the biggest disservice to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. I don't care your size. It doesn't matter. It's still L, C, and D. Now back to the story that I was starting with. I had a girl on the webcast. We were fitting pants. And I fit her, she was a size 16. And the emails I got back was, she's not big enough. We want to see a larger size. You know, we want to see somebody oversized, overweight, large size, plus size, exactly like what you're saying. So I said, okay. I brought in a woman who's a size 28. Now that's the largest size that we go. But I brought in a size 28. And I heard the same thing. She's not large enough. Let's bring in some. It doesn't matter the size. The L, the C, and the D are exactly the same. So don't make it about your size. Make it about doing L, C, and D. That's it. All right, when making a strapless sheath, when you snugged in above the hips, was that only in the facing lining piece? No, it was in the dress. She's talking about on Fit to Stitch. We did a black tie strapless dress showing you how to secure the dress. And the mistake most people make when they go to do a strapless dress is they take in and take in and take in. They keep taking it at the top, and pretty soon you're bubbling over. And I mean, it's, you know, the upper portion of your body is fat. It will not secure the dress. You secure a strapless dress by the hips. Everybody has hip bones. I don't care how much extra layers is on top of them. There's hip bones, and those hip bones are solid. And once you secure the dress sitting on the hip bones, the top can be free to, it can even be loose, and it will not slip, it will not go anywhere, it will not go down. That's how they do bridal dresses. That's how they do everything. So the misnomer among a lot of sewers is to just keep tightening, tightening, tightening the top, and pretty soon you're just about ready to bust, and the dress still will not hold up. So it has to be, and the actual body of the dress, not just the lining or the inside, the actual body of the dress has to be snug enough that it will sit on the hips so that the rest of the dress you can pivot from the top portion. Okay? When you shop styles, do you use tools to measure items? Absolutely. All the time. Shopping lately and think if I've started measuring and noting I have not been bodily removed and told not to return. Oh wait. Shopping lately and think if I started measuring and noting I'd have been bodily removed and told not to. She has been told that? Oh no, you won't be told. No. You're not going to be told. No, I do it at Neiman's. I do it at I take out tape measures at Neiman's all the time. I will say the clerks come up and they ask me if they can help me with anything, and I say no, I'm just looking and measuring. But no, I don't say that to them. I just say no, I'm just looking. Not ever has anyone ever said to me, you can't measure? Of course you can measure. If you feel uncomfortable, take it into the dressing room. And then they can't see what you're doing. But I've never had a problem. And it's not their clothes. I don't think anybody really cares, to be honest. So get over that. The 3-piece yoga pants pattern sizes began at size 4, but the sizes of the waistband pattern start at 6. No, they don't. If they do, they're just going up to the next line. The smallest is a 4, and then it goes from there. So they're all there. All the sizes are there. We might just not have the 4 on it because we assumed you knew the smallest size was the 4, and we started labeling the 6. I think is what might have happened with that pattern. Okay? When you are adding your new fabrics, will these always be on page 1, or are they throughout the fabric pages? No, the newest fabrics are always on the front page because our system goes in numeric order, and so we assign them numbers as they go higher, and they always come out on the front page. So the newer fabrics are on the front, and then there's like 2 new fabrics up today, this one and then a sapphire blue, and those are brand new today. We just put them up. Okay? I want to make a tank dress. Can I use a skirt that fits me to use this pattern for the bottom of the dress? Yes, but yes, you can. Yeah, I was going to say you probably don't need it, but I shouldn't say that because this last week I got an email, and it was regarding this little sweater top, and the email said that they would really like me to do this little top as a pattern because they work a lot of hours. When they have time to sew, they don't want to be making the pattern, they want to be making the garment, and they want to go right to sewing. And I really thank for that email because I think that I love to make patterns, and I forget that you all don't necessarily love to. I forget that, I just forget. And so that was a really nice reminder. So it's going to be one of our fall patterns. It doesn't mean I won't show you how to do it. You can do your own. But I do think that it's important to do what you like to do the best so that you can get the clothing, which the goal is to get the clothing. It's not necessarily to make patterns. That's not the goal of it all. And so I think that it's got to work however works best for us. All right, question is, if I want to raise the waistline of the jeans pattern, how far across the backside do I make the slash? Well, if you're raising the waistline, you shouldn't be making a slash. Raising the waistline is a length issue, and slashing is a depth issue. So just simply to raise the waistline, you would add the same amount all the way around on the top of the pant. That will raise it up. You're assuming, or I'm hearing you assume, that there's a depth issue, and that's why you're raising the waistline. But I'm hearing 2 different things, so I'm just not sure on that. Maybe just get a chance and clarify it for me. Go ahead. Okay. Oh, about Brett. Brett update. Well, we made a chart. Brett liked charts. He put that chart up for you all. So we made a chart, and it was how far he's come and how far he has to go, and it made us a little more excited that we're still in the trenches, because I think there was 400 and something shots and he only had 60 left. So I mean, you know, we think we're getting there. We're doing all that the doctors say. We don't know. He goes into the hospital on Friday for another chemo session. He's in the hospital for 5 days. You know, we're just doing what we can, and he's got good days, really good days, and really bad days. And we know that there's a lot of thoughts his way, and he feels it, and we thank you all. But like I said, we're just hoping for the best, and they can only have 8 chemo treatments, so we'll see. There's a PET scan scheduled for the end of June, so we just have to hang on. All right? You guys know who have been through this. This is a long process. And the other night on the phone, I was talking to a lady, and she said she was a nurse. And I know several webcasts ago I thanked the nurses. I'm telling you, I still thank the nurses. You are the most wonderful people on this planet. I mean, we have just had the most spectacular nurses. Incredible, incredible. So I know a lot of sewers are nurses, and a lot of nurses sew, vice versa. So anyway, it's a great occupation. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so how are we doing? We ready to start lesson? Okay, so let's start talking about shorts. And I had some emails about women who said, I don't have anybody to sew for, but here's the best thing about sewing for men, okay? And men, you can't listen to this. Men don't need a lot of fit, number one. They don't need a lot of fit. You know, you just measure, they just don't need a lot of fit. Their bodies are not as dimensional as ours are, and they don't require the skill level of the bust. You know, it's easier. Men are easier to fit than women, number one. So number two, what you can do is you can practice your stitching on cargo pants, on shirts. And you know what, if it's not perfect, see, we're so critical of ourselves that if it's not perfect, we won't wear it, but they will. So you can practice and practice and practice, and then give it to them, and they'll love it. And don't explain everything that's wrong with it. Just give it to them. Is that a deal? Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about first. We're going to talk about the cargo pants. Do we need to answer this? If a crotch curve connects the crotch length and the crotch depth, can there be a wrong curve? So how does using the French curve at the pants crotch help duplicate fit? How am I going to explain that? Let me show you something. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see this, but let me do the best I can here. I need a hold on just a second. Well, I'm going to use it on the back of my paper, and I'm going to use a pencil. I don't have a Sharpie. I had a Sharpie around here, and I'm not sure where it went. Okay, I want you to think of, I'm going to start with a armhole. Okay, and on this armhole, I'm going to remember that what an armhole does. Now, you got to stay with me, you guys, because you got to get this whole picture, okay? What the armhole does, its job is to go down until it clears the underarm and then come over. Okay, so there's two parts to an armhole. There's the up and down, and there's the in and out. Now, whenever we do an armhole, we don't do that. We curve it. Why do we curve it? Because it's easier to sew. It doesn't have to be rectangular. If it's rectangular, it's much harder to get it exactly right to match a sleeve in. So we use this French curve, and what we do is we curve the bottom of it. Okay? All right. Everybody get that analogy? All right, we're going to do the same thing with crotch. A crotch and an armhole is the exact same thing. Crotches have to go down until they clear the crotch, and then they go in. So this is determined by how tall we are, where we want the pant to hit, and this is determined by how wide the body is. So again, there's no reason to stitch it in a rectangle. That's kind of silly when our bodies are curved. So we use the French curve to make that curve graceful, smooth, etc., etc., and that's what makes up the crotch curve, is the up and down portion and the in and out portion. And we know that if those two don't match, then they have to be adjusted one way or another. Okay? Does that help at all? Let's see what the questions are back from that. Thanks, Jared. Hey, Doug. Doug's making jeans? Whoa. Step it up, Mr. Doug. Stepping it up. Good for you. I'm going to put that down just a little bit. Okay. Does that? I hope that makes sense to you all, but it's the same analogy. Crotches or armholes. When I made my first man shirt, I put the pocket on the wrong side. My hubby said it was fine, and he wears it. But it annoys me every time I see it. He doesn't want me to do any more work. Okay, so here's a little story you have to explain to them. That sewing for them is not work, it's love. So if he doesn't want you to love him anymore, then, okay, you'll quit. But if he wants more love, then you enjoy sewing for him because it's not work, it's love. So if you just kind of change a few words around, maybe it will be okay. Because actually, you are, and if you explain to him that you're practicing, so you really want to practice, just as if he were, you get it. Just explain, put it in a different way, or I would make him another shirt. Does he like the shirt, or is he wearing it just because you made it? Like, you don't want him to wear it just because you made it. You want him to critique it, tell you why he won't wear it, and then make another one. I think that's a really important at least that's what I want. I want to get good. I don't want him to just all be wearing my stuff because, all right. Okay, good. You understand the curve. Very good. Okay, so let's talk about cargo shorts now for a little bit. Cargo shorts actually started with the British. They wore them in the military, and because there was so many pockets, they really facilitated all the different things that they needed to carry. That was about 1938. So then eventually our military started wearing them, and then they actually transferred to, in the 90s, they actually transferred to like hip-hop, grunge, and those things. Cargo pants did. And then the cargo short was just a shortened version of them. They are considered a very casual, liberated lifestyle. I think they are they're the #1 wearing short of any kind for men, period. I don't know of any kind of shorts for men other than cargo shorts in the stores anymore. But the problem with cargo shorts, at least in my household, is getting those cargo shorts to be the right length, the right colors, all of those variables. That's hard. It's hard to do. So when you start a pair of cargo shorts, you want to have, I wouldn't have conversation as much because a lot of times they don't know if you ask them questions, but I definitely would have them show you a pair of their cargo shorts and ask questions. Did they notice what color the thread is? Do they like this fabric? What do they like about the cargo short? I mean, you really got to make it succinct, because even if you cover all the details and you leave one out, it can make or break a cargo pant project. But don't worry if they don't wear it. It's not about them wearing it. If they don't want to wear it, you give it to Goodwill and you make another pair. Remember, you're practicing your stitching. And because on cargo shorts, these are the ones I'm making right now, these are black and I know you can't see them, but on the back there's all of your double stitching. Like, I don't use a twin needle just because I like to stitch, so there's lots of place to practice all of that double stitching. So by the time you make a few pair of cargo shorts, you're ready for your leather jacket. Just think of it that way. It's kind of in training. On the cargo short, when we're talking size, the only thing you're measuring is the waist. You measure the waist and that's it. My husband wants me to practice the cargo shorts until I can make them cargo pants. Can I do this? Absolutely. You just add length to them. That's all you do. Now, if he likes cargo pants, remember, like we just talked about in the beginning, measure the hem, measure the knee, measure the thigh so that you get the right style of leg of what he likes, and then just add to the length of these to the number that you want at the bottom. But nothing about the top of the pant is any different. But there's a couple things, heads up, that I want to give you about this cargo short. In ready to wear, there are, you all know what grading is, and there's certain sizes and certain grading. Pockets do not grade on cargo shorts, so I need you all to be really aware of that. So you want those pockets to be proportioned to him. So if he's really a larger size, the pockets on this may be too small. It just may look too small, be careful of that. And really it's the back pockets, not so much the side pockets. As I measured in the stores, like the smallest size pocket to the largest size pocket, the side pockets I'm talking about, they were the same size. But the back pockets had actually changed. No, I'm sorry. The back pockets were still the same size. They had not changed. But to me, on a larger pair, they looked a little funny. So they don't have a grade for pockets. So when I did the pattern and I said to my grader I wanted the pocket to grade, he said, well, how much do you want it to grade by? And I couldn't answer that because I don't know what I wanted to grade by, because there's nothing in ready to wear to compare the grade by. So I was a little miffed by that. So just be aware of that. If you're, I'm going to, person you are sewing for. If your person you are sewing for, your purse, if your purse doesn't care, then you don't have to worry about it. But ask him about the pockets. Be specific, because I'm going to tell you something. I have sewn for my sons. I have sewn for my sweetheart. And there's things they notice, even though they didn't notice before. If you do them wrong, they notice after. Okay? And it doesn't mean they don't wear them, but you know, just like the pocket thing, you know, where it bugs you because it's on the wrong side, you know, you'd like to. I remember we went to a party one time. I had sewn a shirt for my sweetheart, and he picked out the fabric. He loved it. He loved this shirt. And I said to him, don't say that I made it, because it's too much. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about, you know, I don't want to talk about that. So let's not talk about that. So don't mention it. So like right in the door, you know, we get into this party and someone says, oh, did she make that shirt? I'm like, gosh dang it. Well, he couldn't lie. And so sure enough, it's like, gosh, 15 minutes of questions. And I mean, you know, it was like a night off. I didn't necessarily want to talk sewing. I love talking sewing, don't get me wrong. But anyway, so gag them, or don't let them wear it into a public place if you don't want to talk about it, because people are really interested when you sew and when they like it. So anyway, it's really fun. Are we thinking about doing a pattern for young boys? Nope. Nope. Young boys don't have fitting issues, do they? You just make things longer. Men, the reason I think men are fun to sew for is because they really enjoy us doing something for them. And you know, I mean, of all the things I can do for my children or whoever, sewing is one of them. I really like to do that. Okay, so with the pockets, watch the size of the pockets. I have done, hold on to the question just one second. I have done everything, every part of this pant, I've done a YouTube video on. The fly, exactly the same, but you're going to switch it around, and you're just going to, you know, put the left fly on the right on the, you know, switch it around. Don't do it like a women's fly. Men will not wear women's. Women's will wear men, but men will not wear women's, just a caution. But it's very easy to sew. It's just like the jean. It's just like the cargo short. We've done all of it online. You don't need anything for tonight. I did want to talk about some fitting, and let's answer this question because it's about fitting. Do we put the dart in the butt like the women's pants? Most guys' shorts are so baggy in the butt because they don't have a butt. I think the butt should be a little more fitted. Totally up to you. If you want it more fitted, you would fit it just like women's. This particular cargo short is not baggy in the butt. I made it pretty fairly straight in the rear end, but most men's cargo shorts are baggy in the butt because they gain weight in their waist. So if you have to go larger for the waist, they're baggy everywhere down here. And there's, you know, I mean, take out what you can take out and go ahead and pinch darts and do an LCD, same thing, but just recognize that there'll be limits because you go by the waist circumference. And once you go to the waist circumference, you can go from the waist and cut down to a smaller hip. Absolutely, just like women's, you can do that. You can put elastic in the waist. If they have a tummy and they have a hard time holding their pants up, you can put elastic in that waistband. Absolutely, that will, you know, you can't find a cargo pant like that. And so things like that are really, think of yourself and think of things you've done for yourself and then translate it back to the guys. Okay. If I raise the waistline of the jeans pattern, how far across the backside do I make the slash? Okay, I was watching an excerpt from the jeans DVD, and that is where I heard about slashing the back to raise the waist. Okay, So let me clarify. If you are raising the waist just in the back, that's when you do the slash. If you're trying to raise the waist because the whole pant doesn't come far enough up on you and the problem is all the way around, that's when you would add to the top of the pant all the way around. So the only time you're going to slash is if it goes down in a V in the back. And if it goes down in the V, that's when you'd slash, bring the V up to the waist or where you want it, and fill in the slash. And sometimes those excerpts, you know, they're good because we're just trying to show you what's on the video, and sometimes they're bad because the video answers those questions, but because you only get that excerpt, you know, you misunderstand probably what's being said. But anyway, if the problem is a V and it's only at center back, that's when you'd use the slash. If it's all the way around, add to the entire pant. Can a large butt look smaller with not only graded pocket size but also placement and orientation tilt of the pocket? You must know me. Absolutely. Absolutely. These pockets, a lot of women will say, I don't want pockets on my back rear end, but I say yes, 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 yes. Have pockets on your back rear end. And I do this out of habit, and it's marked on your pattern, so you really don't need to worry about it because the placement on the patterns, you know, we watch it for you. So basically when you're putting a pocket on, this is black, I know you can't see it, but you're going to go the vertical of the pocket that's closest to the center back seam, you want that to be vertical with the center back seam. When you have a pocket on the back of a pants, you have two options. Because the yoke line is not straight, if you put the top of the pocket to where it's parallel with the yoke line, the side of the pocket will not be parallel with center back. You don't want this. You want the pocket to be parallel to center back, and not literally parallel, but as your pockets are straighter and they sit up straighter, that will give you a smaller rear end. If they're tilted out like this, it just takes the eye wide and it looks terrible, and you see it on a lot of jeans. So make sure when your two pockets are sitting like this, they're more like this. Okay? That's the hand thing. This, not this. Would a larger pocket make a larger... No. A larger pocket make a larger butt look larger? Would a smaller pocket look more trim? No, not at all. In fact, what they've done recently with jeans is they've made the pockets bigger because big old pockets look like big old pockets and they make the rear end look smaller. So if you're trying to make your rear end look smaller, go big on the pockets. Because gosh, it looks like the whole rear end is one pocket. If you have a little pocket, then there's a whole bunch around the little pocket. Don't do that. Can you please reconsider selling half yards after the first one full yard? Your fabric is terrific, but I don't want so much extra fabric. It increases my stash exponentially. We will not sell half yards. It's not about reconsidering, you guys. It's about bringing you the fabric at the best possible price we can. You cannot sell fabric by the half yard and without charging exponentially more than what we're charging. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to do that. I mean, when you go to New York, you can't get them to sell you a half yard. That's how we sell. We sell in whole yards, and our goal is to bring you the best possible fabrics we can at the cheapest prices. Remember, we're not a fabric store. Even as I say that, we're having a hard time buying as much fabric as we're selling. Okay, we're selling that much fabric. We're not a fabric store. Remember, we're a pattern company. The goal is to just bring you great fabrics from New York that you couldn't get anywhere else. That's the goal. And I have so much... we won't go there. Okay, anyway, so no half yards. I won't reconsider it. I'm so sorry. That's final answer. Did you make the left front and the right front different to accommodate the male anatomy? No, it's not made differently to accommodate the male anatomy. The male anatomy doesn't need a difference. It hasn't been different since the 1800s. So, it's not necessary. Their pants are not worn that tightly. When they were tight and small to the body, then that was a different thing. But that's really outdated. You know, I hope that's not offensive, but it's very outdated. Okay. All right, I want to talk about a shirt. We feel we've got this cargo pant down? And have fun with it. Really, truly have fun with it. It is fun sewing. Put a good movie on. Put a good books on tape or something like that and just kind of sew away and have lots of fun. The methods are really easy. You'll have a lot of fun with the cargo short. We are doing a new thing with patterns. We started this at the first of the year. Some of you just may not know about it. That is that when we have it allows us to be more on trend with patterns, and that's the goal. So for instance, we printed this pattern just because it's summertime, because it's Father's Day, because we wanted to honor fathers, men, and so we could print this pattern, but we're only printing limited quantities on many of the patterns. So we'll do one printing. When that printing is gone, the pattern is gone. There's no reordering. You know, we'll just take it off the website. There's nothing wrong with the pattern. There was no mistakes in the pattern. It just simply ran its course, and we decided to not keep every pattern that we bring out forever. So that means some patterns that come out for spring will only last a little while. That's not the classics. Our yoga pant, our Sally's pant, our sweater set. Those are classics. Those are trends. But there are others that we bring in that are a little more trendy, and then once we print the initial printing and they'll go out, we won't have any more. You will not know which ones those are. As we sell out, then we'll just take them off the website and they'll be gone. But somebody will come along and say, hey, I was looking for pattern number so-and-so. Why can't I find it? Well, we just don't have that one anymore. All right, so I just wanted to let you all know that we won't have all the patterns all the time forever. Okay? What pattern adjustments would I need to consider when making cut-off jeans for women? When I just cut off my jeans, I have to rip out the side seam for mobility. That should not be the case because you don't have any more mobility in that pant than you did in jeans. In shorts, maybe you're just expecting more out of shorts. Mobility is circumference. So when you cut them off, you should be getting more mobility, not less. That doesn't make sense. So it's got to be kind of up here somewhere. So just be aware of that. Can this pattern be used as a woman's cargo pant? Absolutely. It's not fitted. We have a women's cargo pant, which is 3,500, but could it be used as a base? Absolutely. It's a great pattern. All right, so do you plan on doing another sew-along soon? We don't plan on doing something soon. I can tell you what we'll do is when we get to 20,000, we'll have a sew-along. How's that? And you all can pick the sew-along. We'll take a vote and see who comes up with the most, or see what comes up the most. But 20,000 YouTube subscribers, that means you got to tell all your friends. 20,000 YouTube subscribers, we're pretty close. I mean, it's not going to be but a couple months off, but I'll do that. And then so we'll figure out when we get to 20,000, we'll ask you all what you want and we'll plan one. Okay? Or we might celebrate that Brett doesn't have cancer anymore, but we can't do that yet. So we'll have to wait on that too. But hopefully maybe that'll be around the same time. Okay, so let's talk about the men's shirt. There's a couple things I want to make you aware of because these are very similar to women's, but they're done a little differently in men's. Years ago, there was a men's shirt line in Neiman Marcus called Stubbs. They were out of Dallas, Texas. I was fortunate enough to know, or unfortunate enough to know the man, and I did some pattern work for his shirts. The reason I got the job, or he heard it, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Is because he had a terrible fit around the bottom portion of the arm. I'm going to bring this over just so we can see it. And so this is the shoulder seam on a men's shirt. And we all know that the shoulder seam is important. We know from women if the shoulder seam is not right that it sags and it causes a lot of extra through this room, and we don't want that extra. On a men's shirt though, there's a secondary place you can take it away so you can get that armhole to be closer to his actual arm, and that's right here. It's not on the yoke though. You can pinch it out right here, but you don't want to take it out equally. So basically what you're going to do is take the top of the shirt, and it's already curved. If you look at the top of the shirt, you'll see it's kind of bowed. It's already bowed, but you can do it a little bit more. Again, you don't want to go into the yoke because I used the stripe just so you could see. You want the yoke to be straight here so that you can do plaids, you can do whatever, but the fitting will come out down in here. And it'll be like a little V, and you can see that will pull this back up, and it still keeps the yoke on a straight line. Just makes that look better. So that's something that's done. If they're doing the neck size, follow the neck size. You can go anywhere you want once you leave that neck size. You can go different chest, different sleeves, all of that. So don't, just like women's, Play Mr. Potato Head with all of those parts and pieces. The back yoke here, I did a pleat. You don't have to do that. Again, as we mentioned earlier, where her son didn't like it, you can close that up, taper to nothing at the bottom. The pattern will still lay flat. You can completely remove it. In the pattern, you have the option to put a center pleat or 2 side pleats over here. The 2 side pleats are a little more of an English style or tradition. The center pleat in the back is more U.S. tradition. Your choice. I've done both. Again, it doesn't make a difference. The beauty of that pleat is mobility, because there's extra fullness across the back. A lot of people like that. A lot of men like that. Okay? Darts, you can put darts in the back. You don't want to do pleats and a dart, though. That's kind of contradictory one of another. If you're adding pleats, it's mobility. If you're adding darts, you're taking it away. So it'd be a contradiction to have a pleat and darts. Just do one or the other. But you can do full in the back, and then you can do darts in the front. That's completely acceptable. And if you decide to do darts in the front, that would be exactly as a woman's. 4 inches from center front, same exact thing. We've shown the pleat, the sleeve, on YouTube. Step by step, we've gone all the way through it. It's an extremely easy method. I mean, I love making a men's shirt. Again, it's a great way to practice your stitching. And if it's not right, or if you're not sure about it, don't do any stitching. I don't put any interfacing in the collar. Some men love interfacing. Some men like a really stiff collar. Some men don't. So it's really a great time to check and see what they like. Benno's, I've talked about Benno's buttons before. Jerry is here in Dallas, is the owner. They have the beautiful mother of pearl buttons. Now, when you're talking about men's shirts and when you get into really high-end shirts, the buttons are mother of pearl, and they are real mother of pearl. So, and they're thick. They're like 3/8 of an inch thick. They're these beautiful mother of pearl buttons. They have them. And honestly, when I look at a shirt, sounds really snotty, but only because I've learned the difference. I notice the buttons, and I can tell if they're cheaper plastic, or I can tell if they're the beautiful mother of pearl. Other than nice fabric and nice buttons, you'll never be able to tell that shirt was made versus the $800 and $900 shirts that come from Neiman's. Now, do I think a $600 shirt is worth it? No way. Just no way. No way. But they do have beautiful buttons. So if you go onto Benno's site, even if you don't want to make a men's shirt, at least learn about those buttons. The buttons are absolutely beautiful, these little mother of pearl buttons. Okay, so again, men's shirts are really easy to do and fun to stitch. I love an oversized men's shirt for a female. If you're looking at pajamas or something like that, that's fun to do. In a few sessions from now, we're going to do a little lingerie webcast. But I think to have a big oversized shirt as pajamas, I think personally is really fun. But we'll kind of talk about that later, just a suggestion. Will you be making a man's t-shirt pattern? Not for fall. We don't have any plans right now. Men's t-shirt patterns can just be laid down and traced, you guys. You don't need a pattern. Whoops, I shouldn't have said that. I know, you don't want to lay down a trace, you want to just start with the pattern. Forget I said that, let's just hit replay, delete. Okay, I didn't say that. Not right now, we don't have any plans to make a men's t-shirt. I'm thinking about asking hubby for a sewing dress form for my birthday. How long does it take to ship? They take about 2 to 3 weeks. This is our dress form back here. This is the brand new one that we're offering now on the site. These are gorgeous. I mean, they're just beautiful. They have this little right arm here. So it just ties around the neck, and I love it having an arm. I didn't think I would, but I really like it having an arm. The casters are, I just love it. It's definitely great. And it's perfect for, oh yeah, Mother's Day passed. Is something else coming up that's for women? For Father's Day, you could tell them that you need a dress form for Father's Day. I don't know. See if it'll work. Can you let us know what patterns are going off the market? I don't always order something I like right away. No, it's too, no. No, I know. I didn't want to say that to scare you all. Don't worry. Just, and I didn't want to do that to try to everybody have a mad rush and buy patterns. I just wanted you to know that if a pattern is gone, it's gone. And, we just won't reprint. And that's, again, so that I can do trends when I started the pattern company, when I decided on a pattern, it had to be a classic. It had to be, I had this criteria. I want to have more freedom in what we present, so that means that it's only going to be for the printing that we printed for. It's not going to be around for 20 years like some of them have been. All right, and so it allows us to keep fresh and updated, and it's, no, there's a lot of patterns right now that are, low, that we're not going to reprint. So don't worry about it. If it's gone, it's gone. You didn't need it, right? Okay. Is the sweater set and the tank top pattern similar? I never thought so. No. Here, this is the okay, let me I get my foot wrapped around that sometimes. Sorry about that. Let me talk about the tank top and the sweater set just for a minute, because I want to show you what I did here. I want to talk about dresses. We've only got a little bit of time left, but I want to talk about dresses. Summer dresses. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I keep getting questions over and over, and they're all related to the same thing. There's 3 kinds of dresses. Hold your questions just for a minute, and let's just get through this little section, and then I'll answer all your questions. There's 3 kinds of dresses. Dresses is a generic term. Like, for instance, if we have a blouse, then we know the blouse is woven. We know a blouse is a certain kind. There's certain things that come to mind pattern-wise, fabric-wise, when we say blouse. When we say t-shirt, same thing. When we say dress, dress is a little generic, and it includes 3 different kinds of tops made into a dress. So it includes t-shirt dresses, it includes blouse dresses, it includes jacket dresses. So a dress could have all those front armholes. Remember, we have 3 armholes. We have 4, but we have a knit armhole, we have a blouse armhole, and we have a jacket armhole. So for instance, in this particular case, I made a tank dress, and then I made a little wrap to go with it. This is a new fabric, and I really just wanted to see how it's sewed. And by the way, I love it. It's absolutely the coolest. It's like a 2-way ITY knit, and it has great drape, and it sews beautifully. But anyway, so I wanted to just kind of see how it's sewed, and I wanted a monochromatic dress with a matching kind of cardigan. Just something not fancy, but clean and simple. This is perfect. So this makes 26 and 27, or maybe 36 and 37, the pieces in my closet. Anyway, so when I'm making this type of dress, because it's a knit, it doesn't matter what the pattern's made for, I'm going to make it with a knit armhole and a knit sleeve. So then if I make a shirt dress, like with the blouse that I have on, this is pattern 600, if I make a shirt dress, then I want the blouse armhole because it's woven, and I need the shirt dress to have a woven sleeve. Okay, then if I make a dress out of the sheath dress, it would be a jacket armhole, because the sheath dress in that particular case, it doesn't mean I can't change it, is made for a jacket dress because it has a shoulder pad, it has a 2-piece sleeve, so it's kind of made for that particular type of fabric. So then the questions start to come in, and the questions are, I'm making the wrap dress and I want to make it out of knit. Can I do that? Well, of course you can do that, but you wouldn't want to use the sleeve that's with a blouse. You'd want to change out the sleeve and use the knit, and change out the armhole and use the knit armhole. So what fabric you use to make a dress will depend on what the armhole is, and I have to think that through. And there's a lot of women who say to me, but I just want the answer. I don't want to think it through. And I was thinking about something the other day, and I was cooking and I was using eggs, and I thought, you know what? You don't always use 2 eggs for every recipe. Some recipes you use 4, some recipes you use 6. You have to think about what you're making and adjust how many eggs you need. And that's the same thing with fabric and with armholes and with dresses. So I want you to make those summer dresses, but I'm hopefully saying this so we'll curtail the number of questions we have and a better understanding that what type of dress are we making? What's the fabric out of? And do we want to have a shoulder pad? Do we want it to be like a jacket? This is a knit and it's a wrap dress, so I used my knit sleeve when I put this in. I don't need a two-piece sleeve for this. So it's all dependent on what I want and what I'm doing. Okay, does that help? Does that make sense? Okay, with that, and don't forget to put your label inside, you guys, especially on the cargo shorts, especially on the things you're making, on those type of things that you're going to give to somebody else. Put a tag. I'm telling you, he'll like it better with a tag in it. It's been actually researched, and they like it better with a tag. That's a bunch of bull crap. That has not been researched. Maybe it has, but I don't know that it has. Put the tag on the outside. That's what you should do, right? Everybody's wearing tags on the outside now. Put a little logo on the outside. Okay, questions? Is the mesh inserts in the jean a woven or a stretch? Where did you get this fabric? You're talking about the skinny jeans. It's a knit. Doesn't have to be though, but it is a knit because it's such a small piece. It doesn't matter what it is. And where did I get it? I got it when I was in New York. I knew I was going to make these skinny jeans. I knew I wanted to make them white. I knew I wanted a little mesh. But you could pick that up probably any fabric store, just even like a bridal veil, or I mean, it's just like a clear mesh. So they'll have it. If you start looking around for it, you'd be surprised. They'll have it. Very easy to work with though, and again, it's just a little section. So the whole skinny jean is stretched, but that does not have to be stretched because it's such a small section. If you're trying to get it over your foot, the rest of the jean will stretch. That will stay firm. Okay. What pattern is the blouse that you are wearing, and what fabric are you using for the blouse? This is pattern 600. We did this a couple weeks ago. Can I turn around? Pattern 600. And the name of the fabric is Ellie Tahari's, I don't know, cotton woven. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know the name of the fabric. Well, you know what, you guys, after the webcast, we make a webcast page, and it has all the fabrics. So it'll have this fabric, any fabrics we have, the black twill, any fabrics we've used in the webcast, we'll have it on that webcast page. So it's not on YouTube, but every page we make up, we put on the website, it will have all the patterns and the fabrics that we used for that night. Okay? Do you have fabric online for shirts? I do. I have some Tommy Hilfiger. We have some, yes, we do have some fabrics. They're probably farther on in because they're just classics and we keep them there all the time. So they're not going to be on the newer page. They're going to be as you go in more, but we do have some. I think we have 4 or 5 different fabrics. Dress forms, how much and what sizes do they go to? All right, you guys, this is a webcast, not a website research question. There a link on, click on the very front, I think on the very front page there's a link. I'm not the web person either. Go to the front page. Sorry, we'll tell you here in just a minute. See what it says, dress forms on the very center, in the center column? Okay, now scroll, no, keep on that page, and just scroll up a little bit. There you go. Okay, so what size does it go to? It goes to size 24, but actually I think it goes larger than that. I think that you just have to tell them what size you want it to be, and he's going to put the link up for you. And I didn't see how much they were. They're on that page. $450. And that includes the wheels. That's wheels included. Oh, they're not letting you put a link up. But again, we'll put a link on this webcast to where you can go there. We'll put a link in the email tomorrow. I'll do that. I'll put a link in the email where you can get it. Have you ever considered to sell out-of-print patterns as digital ones? No, because digital patterns at this time are not accurate. So I'm not interested in putting out inaccurate patterns on any level of convenience. Digital patterns, you have problems with putting them back together. Oh, no, we're not ready for digital. Doesn't mean we won't be soon, and the technology is changing, and trust me, we're watching it. But as far as what I can see right now, The home printers that women have is just not where we want to go. We want to reduce mistakes, not, you know, increase them. So no, we won't do digital patterns for any patterns right now, okay? But we do appreciate you asking, and we are watching it. Anything else? All right, ladies and Doug, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are good. You guys, upcoming is Memorial Day. Have a wonderful Memorial Day. I hope that it's a good one for you. I hope we all remember all of the servicemen who have paid prices for us to have the freedoms that we have. It's a wonderful day. It's a wonderful day to just be together with your family. We won't be here 2 weeks from tonight because it is on a Monday. So we'll come back the very following week. We'll come back with the pattern of the month for June. And that's why we wanted to do this Father's Day now, because I think Father's Day is between now and the next webcast or shortly after. So you have plenty of time to get your fabric, get your pattern, and say I love you with a little gift. Or just practice. Fabric yardage for the wine tank and wrap. This is 2 yards. The dress 2 yards will do this. And you need the whole 2 yards. Yard and a half won't work. Okay. You'll need the whole 2 yards. This is a two-way stretch. I love that. I just love that. Can you sew knit to organza like you did chiffon? Yes. Yes, you can really sew any 2 pieces of fabric together. If you're so inclined, you guys, this summer, these Sew Study tables are just amazing. They're terrific. I say that because today when I was sewing, you know, because you can put the fabric on the table where it doesn't pull any which way you're sewing. So when you have that flat surface, everything's working in your favor rather than things pulling against you and working against you. So when we put stuff up on the site, it's because we really believe it's going to help your sewing be better, not because we're just trying to sell another product. I'm looking at your web page now. Where is the information about the webcast? Okay, perfect. Thanks for asking. Go to the bottom right hand side. It says view our previous webcast. The top one says upcoming webcast, and the next one says view our previous webcast. And if you click on that, it goes to every webcast we've done for the past 3 years. 4 years, I don't know how many we're doing that. And then what you do, if you click on those, it'll come up a page that's on every webcast, and what we do is we link the patterns and we link the fabric of what's used in that webcast. Y'all know that? Yes? No? We spend a lot of time doing that page. For the summer, are you going to do one of the off-the-shoulder trendy tops? We did. We already did off-the-shoulder. Go back a couple webcasts ago when I did a little summer things, and we did some off-the-shoulder. We've got a couple patterns that we used. We used 619, I think it was, 619. And then we did the little hole in the shoulders. We did that. You guys got to watch your webcast. But we also recognize there's a lot of information out there. People always email me and say, okay, where do I start? I'm like, I don't know. Good luck. There's a lot of information out there. The yoke was too small for the back pant on the cargo pant. Do I have to stretch it to fit? You don't have to stretch it. Just cut it bigger. If whatever size you cut, it didn't align, cut it larger. You might have cut inside the line on one, just cut it larger. I wouldn't stretch it to fit. It should be a 1-to-1. I mean, you can stretch it a little. When you say it doesn't fit, you kind of didn't really say how much it's off, but you don't really want to stretch it. I mean, maybe a little. Is the blue dress new fabric? The blue dress? This is a Pontoroma. So I think it's been on the site for a little bit. All right. For the cargo pant muslin, how many pieces do I put together for a fitting? Front, back, pocket. That's it. Front, back, pocket. 3. Okay? All right, that means happy sewing time for everybody. Get set and sew. And you guys, honestly, over the next couple weeks, watch the fabric page. No webcasts, but there's designer, the fabric that I was telling you about that we've gotten in. Watch that fabric page. We'll call attention to it, but this stuff is going to fly. It is amazing. Shears that match solids, knits that match wovens. Oh my goodness. It's just going to be so much fun. I got this box and it was like way beyond Christmas. Way better than any Christmas I've ever had. All right, but anyway, watch the fabrics page. Starting Thursday, we'll start lighting it up. All right? All right, night. Happy sewing. Thanks for watching. Bye.